Hey dorks, was the Power Macintosh 4400 crummy? Nope. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in watching me do more stupid stuff with computers, stay tuned. Wait. It's not crummy, but it certainly is weird. Let's talk about it. In November of 1996, Apple released a new computer for their Macintosh lineup in Europe called the Power Macintosh 4400. It featured a cost-reduced case, a PowerPC 603E CPU clocked at 160 MHz and 16 megs of RAM. In February of 1997, they increased the CPU speed to 200 MHz and made it available in the US for $1,700. Promotion for the machine was minimal. All I could find from Apple was a press release. The magazines of the era weren't too enthusiastic either, giving only a paragraph or two in Mac User, Macworld, and Mac Addict. If the magazines weren't talking about this, what could they have been talking about?
Today, Apple took out full-page ads in newspapers across the country explaining its problems and asking customers to be patient. Financial difficulties, layoffs, buyout rumors. It's enough to make the most loyal of computer users a little skittish. Once a mighty giant in the industry, now Apple computers are given little shelf space in most stores.
Apple Computer has agreed to buy Next Software for a total of $400 million. This reunites Apple with its co-founder Steve Jobs, who started the company 20 years ago. Apple hopes this acquisition will give them the software technology it needs to revamp the aging Mac operating system, which will be based on NextStep. Jobs will work part-time at Apple to help lead the effort.
It's sad and clear that on several counts you've discussed, you don't know what you're talking about.
B Inc. announced that its operating system will be included in Motorola's Macintosh-compatible computers and is close to a similar pact with IBM. B gained national attention late last year when it was thought Apple would buy its operating system.
Another change in strategy from Apple Computer, now taking steps to eat up its clones. Yesterday, Apple announced plans to buy part of Power Computing, the largest maker of Macintosh clones. It's a $100 million deal that will see Power Computing stop making Mac-like machines by the end of this year.
It's a package announcement today. We're very, very happy about it. We're very, very excited about it. And I happen to have a special guest with me today via satellite downlink. And if we could get him up on the stage right now.
All that. So in the middle of the 90s, Apple was grasping at straws to stay relevant and remain in business. They decided that licensing out the Mac OS to third-party computer manufacturers was a good way to grow their user base, and companies like Motorola, Power Computing, and Umax, among others, built Mac OS compatible machines, sometimes based on Apple-designed logic boards. It's uncertain if the clone program increased their user base, but in late '97, all the licenses expired and no new ones were issued. While the program was still active, Apple designed a logic board specification with the codename Tanzania that several clone machines were based on. In an effort to quickly bring a new product to market, Apple utilized this design, along with cheaper, off-the-shelf parts typically used by clone manufacturers, to create the Power Macintosh 4400. My friend and weird machine enjoyer Garth Beagle sent me this 4400. Let's check it out, and when we're done, maybe check out his channel. It's in the description. Taking a look at the machine, it's clear that it's a departure from Apple's typical designs, and if it weren't for the Apple logo on the front of the case, you wouldn't be faulted for mistaking it for a clone. The differences don't stop there though. The back of the machine is wildly different from any other Mac of the era. Once we get to the inside, it'll appear positively alien. There's a lot more metal in here than you'd usually see in a Mac, and it's not friendly and rounded off either. Prepare to give some blood for this one. My example comes equipped with a PC compatibility card with a 166 MHz Pentium chip on a PCI card mounted to a riser. Also on that riser is a COM slot network card. The PC card is supposed to have a metal brace on the end that slides into the front of the case to keep it from flopping around, but it's missing on mine, so this broken off piece of Tupperware is filling in for it. The hard drive and CD-ROM drive for this machine use IDE instead of SCSI to keep costs down, but there's still a SCSI port on the back. Here we can see more cost cutting. Look at how this internal SCSI cable's been mutilated to become an external port. The battery's dead, so anytime power is removed from this thing, I have to hit the reset button, which is hidden down here. It's just more convenient to leave this thing dismantled while I experiment. This is a totally normal way to use a Power Mac, right? This machine was marketed as the Small Business Macintosh, and it came with a small business themed software bundle. Let's install it and see how it goes. Apple was really pushing the launcher back then as a simplified way to start programs. Wow, this installer didn't even ask me which drive to install on or really ask me any questions at all. It just starts with this completely unbranded and frankly kind of ugly restore utility. It seems very un-Apple-like. It didn't switch the startup disk back to the hard drive or give me an opportunity to do so myself before restarting. Odd. I guess I'll have to do it myself. There we go. System 753. 755 was out by this time, but it was incompatible with the 4400 and any clones based on this board design. System 76 was right on the horizon, but it too had instability and incompatibilities that weren't addressed until System 761. Now that we got everything installed, let's check out some of the software. Looks like we got a bunch of tutorials.
Hello, I'll be guiding you through mouse skills, where you'll practice using the mouse. When you're finished reading and listening to each screen in this program, press the return key. Press the return key now to continue. Start by making sure you're holding the mouse correctly. Make sure the cable points away from you. Rest your index finger on the mouse button. Sometimes as you move your mouse on your desk, you may run out of room. Watch me to see how you can pick up the mouse and set it down where you have more room. Try it with your own mouse. Do this. Move the pointer around on the screen. Then pick up the mouse and put it down in a different place. The pointer should stay in approximately the same spot.
Now that we're computer experts, let's check out some of the other stuff this came with. I've heard that on the Tanzania-based clones there's an Easter egg that you can bring up by hitting Command-Shift-T3. If it works, it dumps an image on the hard drive. Hey, it works here too. Wow, there's not many games on this Small Business Macintosh. Mac Publisher looks pretty solid. Wow, this comes with a full version of Microsoft Office. Let's get some work done. Now that I've got the finances out of the way, how about I get to that presentation I owe my boss? Oh, I definitely need to manage my contacts so I can stay in touch with my important peeps. There's tons of stuff here. Let's do some web development. If you need a website for your small business, hit me up. I wonder if anyone ever used these business templates. Oh hey, a Telnet client. So far this is a pretty cromulent Mac. Let's try out the DOS card. First I'll try DOSBench from Phil's Computer Lab to see how this stacks up with the one for the 6100. I ran some benchmarks on that one with various CPUs installed in the video I did on the 6100. Check it out if you want to compare. First up is Doom. Wow, that's actually playable. It's 55 frames per second, so much better than the 6100 DOS card. How about Quake? I'm very satisfied with 27 frames per second. I suppose I shouldn't be that surprised. It's a much faster processor, and I think they beefed up the graphics chip on the compatibility card too. I got Windows for Workgroups on here too. Looking good, as usual. So it looks weird, and it's built weird, has a weird bundle of pre-installed software, and it's weird that nobody, not even Apple, wanted to talk about it. But let's get weirder. Whoa, Peter Norton. Right before this machine came out, Apple purchased Next Software so they could build their future Mac OS on Next Step's foundation. But right up until that was announced, it was speculated that Apple was going to acquire B Incorporated to turn their operating system BeOS into the next Mac system software. Let's see how it runs on this thing. To get the BeOS installer disk to boot, I'll have to add an extension to macOS since this machine only knows how to boot to macOS. This has got to be one of the most simple OS installers ever. I don't know about you, but these tabbed window title bars are beautiful. Let's check out the teapot. Well, the 3D performance here isn't lighting the world on fire. Let's get the network up and running. Sweet! I'll figure out how to get this thing talking to my Apple Talk file shares later, but for now I'll just enable the FTP server so I can get some files on here. Someone ported Worms Armageddon? Yeah, that didn't work. How about this demo thing? Nothing is working. Let's try one of my favorite old games. That's the stuff. I'll play with BeOS some more in a dedicated video sometime. Such a cool system, and I've literally only scratched the surface here. Apple quietly discontinued the 4400 in early '98, and later that year ushered in the era of extravagant, colorful case designs that would persist for years. The clones would die off too, as their hardware couldn't keep up with the advances in the OS. Accelerator cards were made available for the 4400's cache slot to upgrade the CPU to a G3 or a G4 to keep up with OS updates, but eventually those weren't enough to keep the few 4400s still out there modern. Since that time, this machine has gained a reputation as a bad machine, a compromised machine. Not worth the stamped metal the case was made from, but I disagree. I think they're all missing the beauty of the weird. This machine had something many other computers of the same time didn't. It was interesting. It'll always have a space on my shelf. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in watching me do more stupid stuff with computers, stay tuned.